It's debatable here on MLBbro.com.
All right, man, Ram. As we approach the end of the regular season, time for us to take a look back. So, which MLB bro do you think took the biggest step forward to the top of the class in 2023?
Man, that's a great question. I'm going to go with Devin Williams, man. I think he's really just, not that the kid hasn't been a terrific pitcher, obviously an all-star, rookie of the year, all that. But I think his ascension to being a dominant closer, because the history of baseball has been littered with guys that have dominated the 7th and 8th inning, right? But when they get to that 9th inning, it's just a different beast. That light shines a little bit brighter. That heat gets a little bit hotter. That attention is a little bit more, awe-inspiring when you're in the 9th inning. And for him to continue that ascension from a young rookie that came in, pitched well, was a good setup man, to being a consistent, dominant setup man under Josh Hader, to now taking over that role as a dominant closer. I think he's just taking the biggest leap. You look at his numbers, he's 8-3. He's got a whip under 1. He's just been absolutely dominant. He's got a 1.68 ERA. He's just been absolutely dominant all across the board. And you can make the argument that he's a Cy Young candidate. So for him to have the type of season that he's had, continue that dominance, take on that new role, a much more important and more defined role, and a high leverage role, I think is very important. And I think that's why I think he's made the biggest leap this year from an MLBbro standpoint.
Well, we already had an idea last year coming in that he could make that step, right? And I don't want to take anything on him because that's my dude, man. Fun kid. I love him to death. But when you ask the question, who took the biggest step, to me, it was C.J. Abrams, and maybe I'm a prisoner to around the way. But C.J. Abrams, in a town that loves go-go, gives the Washington Nationals that go-go aspect in that lineup. And Davey Martinez has waxed effusively all season long since moving him to leadoff. Let's be clear about this. It's your starting shortstop, who's a big guy, who's probably going to morph into a tremendous power hitter, and he's done everything to take advantage of the rules of the game. His numbers as far as steals are concerned right now, it's just amazing. He's 5th in the league in steals at 41 as we record, and has stolen 93% of his bases. For perspective, there was a 3-month stretch where he, I think, went 21 consecutive stolen bases or something like that, and set a modern record. I haven't seen anybody show the potential to dominate in 5 tool ways. And while Devin Williams is dynamic, to me, when you look at the athleticism, the versatility, and, until recently, I think CJ probably has played better defensively, but I'm going to chalk that up right now at this point in the season to fatigue.
That Davey Martinez moved him to the leadoff spot, taking advantage of his tools. He's played really good shortstop. He's shown some power. So, I think C.J. Abrams is really taking that ascension to being that guy that I think most people thought he could be. The only reason I picked Devin Williams is because, again, we could write a book on how many guys were great, dominant setup men, and then when they get to the 9th inning, it's just a different beast. I don't care how talented you are. I don't care what your track record is of dominating over a period of time. We've seen it when guys get into that 9th inning, when they become closers, it's a different beast. And he's, you could make the argument he's better than he was as a setup man now that he's a closer. And then with the changeup, the ghost changeup, the funky changeup, whatever the nickname is for the pitch, I think it plays well in the 9th inning. And and I know that CJ is an everyday player. You're always going to pick an everyday player over necessarily.
But so's your closer.
But this guy's getting your biggest outs. You can make the argument that he is a more important player to the Brewers than what C.J. Abrams is to the Nationals.
Well, I'll give you that right now, largely because the Nationals aren't contending and the Brewers are in a playoff run. But when you talk about leaping forward, again, we knew as a setup man, Devin Williams had closer stuff. The jury was still out on C.J. Abrams. I think this year proves without a doubt that the Nats shortstop has the potential to be something special. And I would argue that Devin Williams already is. Two great players, two great bros. I'm going to love watching them grow up. For the man, Ram, it's the OG. That does it for Debatable this week.
For more right now, go to MLBbro.com.